What is good, everybody? Today we're back with a 2-in-1 WWE Elite Action Figure review on the WWE Elite Series 116 Jade Cargill and Kevin Owens figures. Now, this is our first ever WWE Mattel Jade Cargill. We did get her jacket revealed to us at San Diego Comic-Con last year, and then we, of course, got the render images, finally got some in-hand images, and now it is finally here, time to review this, and just in time for WrestleMania season as we wind it down here. And then we do have Kevin Owens, no stranger to the Elite line, and one of my favorite wrestlers, so really excited for Kevin Owens, excited for Jade, find out what they're about, compare it to the AEW figure, see what that's all about. But we have two really cool figures here. I felt like we waited a while on Elite Series 116, but it's finally through the door. I'm excited to get into these reviews with you, so hopefully we can check it out, man. But if you're interested in these figures, you can go over to Ringside Collectibles, use promo code MDTOYS to save yourselves 10%, but we do have Jade here. I've got to imagine that soon we are going to see a change of packaging. I am just so tired of seeing this packaging. I feel like we've been kind of like in a time warp of this packaging, but get a shot of Jade there. He is first time in the line. You have a nice shot of Jade there with a little bio read there. Making her highly anticipated debut at Royal Rumble 2024. Was there in person for that one, so it's pretty cool to see. And then we do have Kevin Owens here, which is another cool one because this is based on his WrestleMania 40 look and kind of a, leading up to WrestleMania 40, but the underneath gear is going to be WrestleMania 40, where I was also live in attendance. So pretty cool to see, man. Kevin Owens, you got Kevin Owens there. This is the shirt graphic that's underneath the shirt, but if you want to read it, you can pause it now. Rest of the figures in the wave, which I think is a pretty cool wave overall, but nonetheless, we won't know about these details until we crack them out of the packaging, man. So with that being said, let's crack Jade and Kevin out of the packaging, find out what they're about, and see how they compare to the rest of our collections, and see if they're worth a shish. Alright, man, so here's Kevin Owens and Jade Cargill out of the packaging. I'm liking some things I'm seeing. I'm liking some things I'm not liking. Alright, we'll get into those. We're going to dive into it. You know how it is. When we come over here, man, we're going to dissect these figures to the utmost degree, as we like to do over here as a figure sicko. But we're going to dive into the Jade Cargill accessories and the Jade Cargill figure, and then we're going to run it back and take a closer look at KO's accessories and the Kevin Owens. And then we will, of course, get into the photography and the comparisons and all the other jazz. So getting into Jade's accessories, starting out first, we do have the leather jacket or the wing jacket or whatever the hell you want to call it, and some interchangeable hands. Now, feeling this jacket in hand, it has a very weird feel. It does not feel like the traditional rubber material that we see from Mattel. It has these little spikes on there, but it almost feels fake. I really don't even know how to describe it. If you have the figure, you know what I'm talking about, but it does have this reflective silver. You have Jade on the back here. We did get this jacket teaser back at San Diego Comic-Con last year, and this was, one of the teasers, and we have it in hand here, and I would have preferred cloth or something like that, but it is what it is. It's kind of a flat grayish silver color. It just feels weird. It's hard to describe, but I don't really care for this because you guys know it does hinder the articulation quite a bit. You're not going to be able to pose it or do anything like that, so I don't know, not horrific, but also yes, it is horrific. So it absolutely is horrific. I can't pose my figure, man. And then for interchangeable hands, we do get the mic holding or weapon wielding hands, which is kind of lame just because she doesn't have the nail polish, so no nail polish on here, no blue nail polish, and I say blue because on these brand new signature hands, she has the blue nail polish. I'm pretty sure she did have the blue nail polish, and these hands are interesting. They're kind of her entrance style, signature hands, and they're okay. We do get this brand new sculpt and everything like that, which is cool. Sharp nails on there and everything like that, but it's weird. It's kind of a different change of pace compared to the mic holding hands, right? So you have this, and then when you get over to the mic holding hands, you don't have the nails or the colors or anything like that, which isn't the biggest deal. It's just something worth noting, and they look pretty good for the most part. They look maybe a little long, but I don't know. I don't hate them. I don't think they're bad at all, but you do get the signature hands. So getting into the Jade figure, starting out with the head sculpt, I think this is a really, really strong head sculpt. I think this looks just like the character. I like the hair. I like the likeness. I think they did a good job capturing like the makeup and things like that. I feel like a lot of the times they leave the makeup off or the blush or the eyeliner or the eyeshadow and things like that, and it just looks really, really good. Maybe one of the better head sculpts from Mattel that I've seen in a minute. Just has a lot of likeness. I mean, this looks just like Jade. I think they did a great job there, so that looks really, really nice. The hair sculpts everything, so they did a really good job there. We also have this brand new sculpted top here with that wing stuff going on. It looks like they didn't really leave any stone unturned with this figure. Now, I know the gear is not the most accurate. It's not this flat silver. It was very reflective and kind of a chromy material or light silver with reflective plates going on the gear, but I know that's really hard to replicate, especially at this price point, so I understand it. It doesn't look bad, though. I think they did a good job. You got the sculpted on necklace and everything. I mean, this is pretty top-notch for the most part. I think they did a pretty good job. Got a back right there. lower back as well, and then you do get some subtle, you know, definition here in the lower part of the abs and stuff like that, which is cool. She does, you know, she has a pretty impressive physique, as we all know. Kind of like Finn Balor in that same way, right? Just a really impressive physique that's like, my God in heaven, were you made in a lab or something? But she's got the jacked arms on there. Honestly, her shoulders and arms could probably be bigger, to be honest with you, but I don't hate it. I'm glad that you get a little bit of, you know, musculature in there, and then you do have the silver on the bottoms right there. Got some pretty muscular thighs, and then we do have the Jade knee pads, which are sculpted on. I think that look, not like the knee pads sculpted on, but the Jade part is sculpted into this, you know, rubbery knee pad right there, which looks really, really good. And then we do have the Ultimate Edition boots with the Jade logos there. And I don't think this was light blue. I think this is just kind of a design choice to kind of like make it look reflective, is they have this light powder blue look, and I like the color. I just don't think that's necessarily accurate. I think they were just trying to go for like a reflective color. You know what I mean, if that makes sense. But her boots are silver. You have the Ultimate Edition toe articulation there. But as far as articulation here, you know, she's not going to be able to move up or down. So I mean, she can look down just slightly here, but as far as like pivoting and rocking and all that, you're not going to get a whole ton there. No ab crunch whatsoever, man. She can go back some, but forward is absolutely non-existent. She can lean back that much, which is kind of crap. She does get a tight waist there, which is good. Arms go right at 90. Full rotation, bicep swivel, really good double jointed knee, or double jointed arm, I should say. Rotates and hinge here, which is nice. And then as far as kick forward, it's a decent kick forward, not my favorite kick forward of all time. Can go out to the side as well. Upper thigh cut. Double jointed knee that is pinless, but it's pretty smooth for the most part. Boot swivel. Small ankle rocker, and then you do get the toe pivot there. So not a whole lot of articulation out of this Jade, to be honest with you, but it's not just something that you're like, man, I just want to throw this to the hell in the yard. So I don't know. I think you can get some good stuff. I hate that there's no damn ab crunch, but I do want to get into some figure comparisons here. And for your Jade figure comparisons, we do have the Jade AEW Unmatched figure, and then we do have the Shop AEW Jade figure here. And just comparing them, you know, the scale is going to be a little bit messed up. Some of the skin tones, you know, the skin tones don't match up. I think that the skin tone on the Jazzwares one is more accurate. I think that Mattel did a better job on the head sculpt. I think that the body is very, very close. I like how defined that, you know, AEW made the lower abdomen part of the figure, and her legs are a little bit more muscular and things, but I don't know. It's not a one-of-one comparison. I think that, you know, the scale's not perfect whatsoever. The Jade Mattel figure is going to be a lot better on scaling. I think that Jade's around 5'10", something like that. But I don't know, I think they're both good in their own ways and everything, you know. I do like the more defined arms on the Mattel version. Again, the head sculpt's better. I think I like the upper torso part as well. I think the Mattel figure is better, but I think there are some aspects to the Jazzwares figure that I like better. But damn, that likeness on the Mattel is crazy how good that is. And then for some more WWE Elite figure comparisons, we do have her up next to Naomi. We have Bianca Belair, and we do have Charlotte Flair, just to name a few there. And I think she scales pretty well for the most part. Again, she is 5'10". I think Charlotte's around that height, maybe 5'11", 6 foot, whatever. And so I think that these do a pretty good job of scaling together, and Jade looks pretty jacked, man. I'm enjoying this Jade figure. I think it's going to probably be up there for some of the better women's figures of the year, if not the top spot, which, you know, we'll probably rank that and do our own deal there. But that does it for your Jade figure. And then one thing I wanted to do was take the, oh, Jade, what are we doing? I wanted to take the Jade figure here, and I wanted to put the Women's Championship right here, and just kind of see what this looks like. I think that looks pretty good right there. So if you guys were wondering what she would look like with the championship. And then I do have a custom, you know, other side of the coin there with a women's championship. And look at that. I mean, I know this is a custom made one, but dang, right there, kind of an undisputed champion right there, merging the two titles together. You have Jade featured with both titles, and she looks pretty good with it, man, especially with the white hair and the gear and everything. I think that looks pretty damn sweet. So I don't know, Jade Cargill, does she have championships in her future? Not yet, Brad, not yet. I don't think she's quite ready there, but still looks cool. So there's that, and these are action figures, so you can recreate that if you want, but she looks really good with the championships, I might add. And then we have Kevin Owens accessories, and he really doesn't come with a whole lot anyway. I feel like the main Elite line, you don't get a whole ton of accessories nowadays, it feels like, but he does come with some cloth goods here. We do get this Velcro-less nice shirt here with the KO in the, kind of like his debut gear a little bit, but it is in blue duct tape or tape here on the front with the KO, and on the back it says just keep fighting. No Velcro, which is very nice. I think I already have an idea of what I'm going to use this for on surgery, to kind of get your 2-in-1 action out of the figure, so that you have a, you know, cloth goods represented version here, and then you'll have the molded on shirt version, which is, you know, when you take this shirt off, you have kind of a 2-in-1 featuring his gear from WrestleMania there, but this is pretty cool. I do like this, and something I wish they would have done with the Ultimate Edition was just give us a nice torso, and then give us 2 or 3 shirt options to use with the figure itself. I think that would have been the way to go, and we know that the Ultimate Edition Kevin Owens was a massive miss, man. Just an awful figure, and I hate that it had to come to that, but we do have a nice cloth goods shirt for a KO, and then he also comes with mic holding or weapon wielding hands. He has the tattoos on there and everything, and it's just a black hand tape with a black peg, and Kevin Owens can't be fighting people if he doesn't have fists, so you do get a pair of fisted hands to beat the holy hell out of everybody that Kevin Owens does like to do. And now we're getting into KO, my man KO right here, man, and this is a head sculpt that I have never been a fan of, man. I do not like this head sculpt. I don't think it's bad. He just looks frumpy lumpkins or something, man. I don't know what it is. It's not a bad likeness or sculpt or anything. I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I think there's better Kevin Owens head sculpts out there, and I feel like this beard is so damn dark. Why did they make the beard so dark? Look how dark this beard is. There's no, like, I don't know, realism or anything. It's just a really oversaturated dark mess, but it's not the worst I've ever seen. I've certainly seen worse head sculpts and worse things going on, but it's just not my favorite personally, you know, as far as a design choice. We do have his KO-Mania VIII shirt, which is just sickening to think that this man has wrestled 8 WrestleMania matches. That is absolutely disgusting to even think about, but you do have the poster on there and everything. On the back, you don't have anything on the back. Can't remember if anything was on the back. I don't imagine there was if they didn't put it on there, but I don't think they would be inaccurate. I don't think they would design a figure like that. I don't think they would design something that wasn't completely accurate to the source material. Then we do have the dinosaurs and the tattoos all over here, which look good. I'm pretty sure he's even added to it since then, so I'm sure this is already outdated, unfortunately, but do have all of his tattoos. I'm getting some black chipped paint on both of my wrist tapes for whatever reason, so missing some black paint here, and I think on this side somewhere. I can't see it there, but you have the rest of his tattoos on this side, which is pretty cool. Got that gator tattoo, which I think is probably my favorite tattoo. I also like his panda and gorilla, but there's pretty sweet tattoos going on there. Then we do have his basketball shorts or his training shorts here. You got the fight in that ECW colorway, and then there was a KO or a ECW style logo right here that they did leave off, unfortunately, and I think he did that kind of to pay homage to Philadelphia there at WrestleMania, but it is what it is. Kind of shishy. I'll probably get a decal or something to fix that, but he does have the pin joints here with the knee pads and everything. We've seen this so many times before. I think Elite 47 is the first time that we saw this exact sculpt, which is absolutely, actually, it's Elite 43, and then it was Elite 43, man. It was way back then, but then he had the regular boots. And, you know, we talk about Johnny Gargano syndrome. This man does have that, and he's actually the originator of it, to be honest with you. I know we call it Gargano syndrome, but it's because I felt like it wasn't that big of a deal. I did a video way back in the day where we took a Kevin Owens and we changed out the short kick pads for the long kick pads to give it the more accurate look, and it was a challenge. It was low-key one of the first kind of surgeries that we did. It was its own standalone video trying to upgrade the Elite, what was it, like 53 Kevin Owens, trying to give him that extension, and I learned in that video that it's just not worth it. I think that, you know, it gets the job done, but you do have the red outline here on the kick pads, and that is pretty much your Kevin Owens figure, but I think Kevin Owens is a guy that can kind of get away with it for whatever reason. I think it's just because he, you know, he has these basketball shorts and he's got the knee pads on there and the kick pads. I don't know. It just doesn't bother me as much on Kevin Owens as other characters, which, I don't know. It just doesn't. There's levels to this, man. There's levels to this. But head articulation, he can look down okay. He can't really look up without the head sculpt really popping off. Like, slight angle right there, I guess. You're not going to get any ab crunch because he has this rubber piece over here, which is kind of buns, but he goes above 90 here. All of this is standard, double jointed arms and bicep swivel. Wrist and rotation right there. Kick forward's okay. These figures, like Kevin Owens figures, don't pose the best in terms of different things, but you can kind of manipulate it and kind of get some stuff going. But you do have the upper thigh cut. You do have a double jointed knee that's like right at 90, and for whatever reason, lower knee is pretty loose, and then the rotation is here, and then his ankle right here is insanely loose. It's the new, you know, the new ankles and new feet or whatever, and I don't know, man, he's definitely very, very loose there, but I do want to get into some KO figure comparisons for you here, but there is our new Elite 116 KO. So for your Kevin Owens figure comparisons, we do have a bunch of different KOs here. I think this is the Elite 80. You have the Elite 91. You have the new Elite 116, the Survivor Series Elite, and then we do have the Elite 101 over there. which is pretty cool. This is kind of our last few shorts or regular gears. We did have the other Survivor Series gear, Kevin Owens with the Dusty Rhodes shirt and the pants, and then we did have the Ultimate Edition, which we'll compare it to as well. But yeah, this is kind of like your standard Kevin Owens releases over the last few, and they're all good in their own ways, but again, man, a lot of reuse. It's kind of just a change in graphic, you know, a change here. Still getting those massive muscular arms. I would really like to see some, you know, chubbier arms or some arms that weren't as defined and mega jacked. Doesn't bother me as much on Kevin Owens just because you can't see his arms as much because he has tattoos. But, you know, the Mankinds of the world and things like that that utilize these super jacked and cut arms just isn't accurate. It just looks ridiculous. And I wish we could get more of a chubbier arm or something like that for guys like Kevin Owens and Mick Foley and, you know, all those different things there. But it is still cool to compare these, and I do want to get the Ultimate Editions in here and kind of get a comparison. I do want to move these out of the way here, and then I also want to bring in two different Ultimate Editions, which I was not a fan of. We have the Ultimate Edition KO here, which is just absolutely tiny, that looks god-awful, and then we do have the Ultimate Edition Sami Zayn, which is definitely better, but yeah, it's still not that great, to be honest with you there, so yeah, you get some more comparisons here. This Kevin Owens Ultimate, man. Just what a release, man. What a release. They thought Kevin Owens was a daggum, I don't even know. He just looks ridiculous. They gave him those super skinny arms, too. Just an awful figure. Awful, awful, awful Ultimate Edition is the Ultimate Edition Kevin Owens. And then here we have Kevin Owens up next to his WrestleMania opponents. We have the top picks Logan Paul and the greatest hits Randy Orton. Just to kind of give you a vibe there, I think all these look good up next to each other and everything like that, even though I know they're not all the most accurate. I think we are probably going to get Logan Paul in that Philadelphia gear, you know, that Philadelphia Eagles gear. And then for Randy Orton, we did get the Elite 116, which is what it is. You know, we're going to compare it. We'll see what those guys look like up next to each other when we have that one unboxed, but we're starting things off with KO, so it doesn't really matter, but it is still cool. And, you know, I had to get my boy Kevin Owens in here and give him the Extreme Championship, and I think his reign has got to be just astronomical. You know, he defended it all across the universe and everything like that, and, you know, he's still champion to this day, just defending it, and, you know, the metaphorical sense and all that, but he looks really good with the title, so, you know, it's got to stand for something, I guess, but there is your Kevin Owens figure comparisons with the championship. It kind of fits, too, because, you know, he had the ECW-style gear going, but yeah, Extreme Champion KO up next to his WrestleMania opponents. But I think that all but wraps up our Kevin Owens and Jade Cargill WWE Elite Series 116 review. At the end of the day, man, I think this is a very nice first figure for Jade. I don't think that it's just the best figure I've ever seen, but I think it's a very solid addition. I do wish that, you know, the silver or gray looking gear was a bit more chrome-esque, and I know that's really hard to accomplish, especially at the $22 to $24 price point. I understand that that's really difficult to do, you know, with paint apps and certain paints they can use and everything like that. I'm trying to think off the top of the dome if they've ever done something like that on gear. I know with the title belt they could probably do that, but I feel like you'd have to mold. I don't know how all that would work. It would probably have to be a removable piece, but maybe they could somehow make like the top made out of the title belt material they make, but I don't even think that's possible. So I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing ideas, but I don't know. I think that the gear could definitely be better, and I'm going to look into how we could possibly make it better, but I think it's a solid first edition, again, of her figure. You know, compared to the AEW, I don't know. It's really tough. I think it's a really good battle. I think you could really flip a coin depending on the scale you want and things like that. I think I do like the body better on the AEW figure, but I think her arms could be bigger. I think that they could do some different things like that, but I do like the figure. I think it's a very good figure. I think it'll probably be up there with some of the better women's figures of the year, and I am glad to finally have her figure in hand on all those things, and I'm sure we'll get more and more Jade Cargill figures as she continues to be on TV and things like that, so we'll have to see how that all progresses. But then we have the Kevin Owens figure, and I love Kevin Owens. You know, it's kind of just a repaint of his other figures, right? It's not, you know, a bunch of different stuff going on. I do wish that it didn't have to leave off some of the logos. I do wish that they didn't go with this head sculpt specifically. Just not my favorite head sculpt. I think he has other head sculpts that I like more than this one. Just the likeness, and I know, you know, you have to change it up sometimes, right? So they can't just keep rehashing the same exact head sculpts and everything. Maybe the Screaming head sculpt would have been cool to include here. We only got that on the Ultimate Edition, so it would have been cool to include it here as just a different one than this one here that we're seeing, but not bad, not bad. I also think the beard's a bit thick. Would have been cool if they could get some of those beard details and, you know, make it not so harsh, but Yeah, I mean, those are kind of nitpicks at this point on this figure specifically. It does have Johnny Gargano syndrome, but he's kind of the only guy that can kind of get away with that, huh? He's like the only guy. Like, I'm always like harping all these other characters, and Kevin Owens is right there in my face, and he's really, like, we call it Johnny Gargano syndrome. It should be called Kevin Owens syndrome, seriously, because he's the one that started this madness with his legs. They did not want to retool new legs, and they still haven't retooled new legs, so they continue to do the thing. So that's kind of how that goes. But these figures were fun to shoot. I always have a fun time here reviewing the figures for you guys and everything like that. So I'd love to know your thoughts on these. If you want these figures, go over to Ringside Collectibles. Use promo code MDTOYS to save yourselves 10%. But outside of that, man, that is going to wrap up the review. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I'd love to know how you feel about these figures down below, and I loved having the discourse down below, of course, just breaking everything down. But that's going to wrap the video, man. A huge shout out to our Patreon members, man. I appreciate you fellas so very much. Thank you for all that you guys do for me on a daily basis. I appreciate everybody, man. But I'm getting out. I'll see you guys next time. Have a blessed one, and I'll catch you guys later.